Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So when you get here, just type in this will be untitled and type in informed consent.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I stopped the recording, so can you take it from the top, please?
Stop. Yeah. Okay.
Leave the screen, just talk from the beginning.
Okay, so when you guys go to your Google Drive, you will click New, and you'll click Google Forms. It'll pop up a blank form that you can start from scratch with. And so you'll type informed consent here. And then you can literally just copy and paste if you already have a Word document typed up, which I believe you do. You can just copy and paste informed description. And then where it gets tricky is you have to, for them to sign, that this is going to be considered an electronic signature. So what you're going to need to do is go to this untitled question, change it from multiple choice to short answer. And what you'll need to type here is just a little blurb stating that by typing your name and date and the line below, you are consenting to taking the questionnaire. So then when they see this, they'll have a section here to answer right here in the short answer text where they'll type their name and the date. So you just have to make sure you pick that's an untitled question portion. So when you're done, let me stop sharing this and I'll show you informed consent. This should be it. So this is what it will look like. As you can see, I literally copied and pasted. This is actually my current informed consent. But yeah, I literally copy and paste this, and then you can kind of see here where I typed in here. I have errors I need to fix, but I stated by typing your name and today's date, you're consenting to participating in this study. And then just basically the same thing they would see if they were to actually sign it in person. Okay, so next step, I'm going to go over the different questions you can do.
Okay, so when you're finished with that document, what do you have to do to save it?
Okay, well, Google saves everything automatically, so you can literally close this out and it'll be saved. Let me show you what it will look like to the person. Let me stop this. Chrome tab. I think it's this one. Yeah, so this, when somebody clicks on the link that you will have, this is what it will look like to them. I'll go over the preview button when I go over the answers. But yeah, you see they'll have this right here, and then they can literally type their name, date, and they'll hit submit. So that's what it will look like to the person, your participant. Okay, we'll stop sharing this. Move here. All right, now let's go back to here. Okay. All right, so now you would go back again, create a new form. This part is kind of up to you, how you want to, if you want to put your project title here, you can. If you just want to start off the bat with the questions, you can. It's just honestly up to you. What I did is I put my title of my project here, and then I just went to add section, which will create a separate section, which is like creating another page they will continue on to. So let's get started on the questions. Google Forms is pretty easy. You'll just, depending on what you have, should go over almost everything today. So let's say you're doing your demographics page. That'll be an easy one. Demographics. So I'm assuming most of you will do male and female. So the easiest type of answer, you'll go over here, change the answer or change type of question, click multiple choice, and then you can say, please select gender. And then for option 1, female, and then male. And then once you're done and you're ready to go on to your next question, you go over here and you click the Add Question button. And then it will always add the question, the type of question you did previously. So since I did multiple choice previously, I did multiple choice. Okay. So once you go through your demographics, let's say you also want to continue with continuing to a next page again to separate your demographics from your questionnaire. Again, hit Add Question, and then you can type, like for mine, I'm doing a knowledge test, so you can put knowledge test if you want. And then you can also put here, pick answer to the best of your knowledge. So that's how you can continue. Now I'll just go over the different types of questions you can do. So we went over multiple choice. If you're doing a Likert scale, Google Forms does have an option for a linear scale. So if you click that, you can type your question here again, and then it'll allow you to go 1 to up to 10, and then you can even start from 0 if you want. The only thing, if you do the linear scale, you can only do the extremes. So you can only do strongly agree and strongly disagree. This won't allow you to put each one. It won't allow you to do strongly agree, moderately agree, and so forth. If you want to do that, you will have to go to multiple choice grid. Only do 1 row. For mine, what I did is I said, please click 1, because otherwise when the participants see it, they'll still see that row 1 option. And then here you can go to strongly agree, moderately agree, ignore my spelling, agree, disagree. Now, when you do that, I will show you what this will look like to the person. So to kind of see what it looks like, if you want to see what it looks like to the participant, you'll click the preview button. I believe I'll have to stop sharing and go back. But when you hit it, it'll show you your entire form and what it should look like under preview. So it'll go through what I've done so far on my forms. So this one. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Should have given it a title. There we go. This is what I want. So you can see this is how it start, kind of how I started out with. So that would necessarily be my title, and the person would click next. Then they'll be prompted for the demographics. And then here, this is what this multiple choice grid will look like. It will only allow them to select 1, which is nice, so they won't be able to do they can't select more than 1. So that's pretty nice. Let me exit out and go back to the other one. Okay. So that's generally how to make a questionnaire. You have other options. If you're doing short answer, you just switch to short answer. If you want a long answer, you can switch to paragraph, which allows them to type more. Some of these, if you want to, you can play around with them. I have not had need to do them. The cool part is, too, you can import images and videos if it's necessary for your questionnaire.
So I'm sure, like you, everybody in the class will have already had a questionnaire made up in a Word document.
Correct. Yes.
Is there some way to just import that Word document, or do they have to retype the questions like this?
There's not a way to import it, but again, you can, when you go to the question, you can copy and paste it.
Okay, but you would have to do but you would have to add the multiple choice answers. I like the multiple choice grid because that lets you label each one. You could do the 5
Yeah.
points usually. That was cool.
Yeah,
That was cool.
exactly. So,
Okay.
yeah, unfortunately, I wish there was a way you can literally import your Word document, not have to do anything, but you have to, at least,
Okay.
at the minimum, you have to copy and paste.
Right, okay.
So,
All right,
and
great.
you have to play around with it. So let's see, what I was going to do. Oh, yes. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you my spring questionnaire so we can play around with more stuff, which I found was kind of helpful when I was kind of collecting my data. Oh, let me get it pulled up first. Let me do this. Okay. There we go. Chrome tab. Okay, so what I did, just to make sure I was on the page, so up here when you're doing your questions, as an editor, you have a questions option or a response option. So the responses allow you to see how many responses you've had so far. And it allows you to go through each question. It'll come up with a summary and a pie chart for you. I believe you can change it. I haven't played around with it that much to figure out how to change it. But as you can see, when I did my spring research, each question, it did a pie chart for me to see what percentage of people said true and what percentage said false. And that kind of helped kind of see where my results were going so far. And
Okay,
also,
now, so I'm sorry. So let's say you get 20 people to do this, and you want to take the responses and put them into an Excel sheet or put them into SPSS.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
So what you will do is there's this option. It turns it into Google Sheets, so you can view responses in Google Sheets. Let me stop sharing that and pull that up. It's loading right now. All right, let me share that. And then this is where kind of like where you have to do a couple of steps to get to it. But as you can see, it literally put all my data into a Google Sheet. You will have to play around with it and make sure it's the right one because and I put mine in a Google Excel sheet and played around with it essentially just to because the way they upload it, it's a lot different than how I typically do it. So like I had to go when I put it into an Excel sheet, I had to change this to participant numbers and then go in and change the actual. If I was going to put this in SPSS, I had to go in and manually change false to one and whatnot.
Right.
So it can be a little bit of work, but at the same time, it's not as much handwriting. It's all online. You just have to make sure and take your time because you can make mistakes, just like if you were transferring from the handwritten to the Excel sheet. So you just have to be careful. But yeah, it labels each of my questions, each category. So it is pretty convenient. So that's what that looks like.
That's pretty sweet, actually.
And like I said, all you really have to do is change the numbering. I know sometimes you can do like find in form and type in like false and change all of them to 1. If you have multiple questions like that, just make sure, like let's say you have like 2 knowledge questions or something like that, just make sure like when you do that, you don't overlap the 1s and the 2s because sometimes, you might have true or false in this section and then true or false in this section and you switch up the numbers by accident. So, but I like the Google Forms. I thought it made it easier to collect the data. It was just harder to find participants when we first did it since we all got hit by COVID. So it was just some learning curve. I think that is pretty much it.
Okay, can you please go back to the
Yeah.
form for creating the questions?
Yes. So let's go back, entitled form. All right, yeah, so we're back to us creating a form.
Okay, so when you're doing your test,
Mm-hmm.
you finish the one question, go ahead and add the next question.
Okay, so
You got to put in your
Yeah,
first
you
question,
got-
you got the answers.
you'll go to this add question button,
Oh, okay, right there.
and it'll add the next question.
Okay, very
And
good.
then, oh, I forgot to tell you guys, if you have several multiple choice questions, what you can do is, let's say you have a knowledge test, you're doing a bunch of true and false. I suggest you do this, make it multiple choice, type in true, and then false. Sometimes it'll autofill. And they have a duplicate button, so you can literally duplicate the question and you don't have to retype true and false.
The same thing would work then for the strongly agree, that stuff too,
Yep.
right?
Yep, and that's what I'm doing for my questionnaire currently. I went through, I created the multiple choice grid, and I duplicated it, and then I went back and did my questions. That made it a lot easier.
All right. Awesome. This was very helpful.
Yeah. I think that's it. And yeah, I think that's it. Settings. Oh, settings. So if you are for some reason using participants outside of Tiffin University and their emails are not Tiffin, you have to uncheck this box, the restrict to users in Tiffin University. So you have to uncheck that. And what I suggest doing, just to make sure you don't have any duplicates of one person, is to click limit to one response. So like when they sign in or whatever, they can only do it once. They can't go back and redo it, or like accidentally do it twice, and then you got to figure out, well, now I got 2 questionnaires of the same person.
Did you collect email addresses? I see that up on top.
No, I did not. Because if I do that with the questionnaire, then a part of them will be associated with
Okay.
the questionnaire.
All right. Point. Okay, good.
Yeah. I think. Oh, and then when you want to send it, you can click send, and you can type in their emails. But this button here will create a link for you, and then all you have to do is copy it, paste it to one email. You can also do a shortened URL if you want, and it'll shorten it even up further.
So that you take that. So that's the link you email out to people, asking them to do your questionnaire.
Yep, and I'd make sure when you do it, you labeled which one's your informed consent and which one's the questionnaire, and just make sure you say, like, please fill out the informed consent before filling out the questionnaire. Or just something like that, so they know what to do and what not to do. And then I think that's pretty much it.
So the informed consent and the questionnaire are done as 2 separate documents.
Yes. If there's a way to separate the names, I do not know it, but as far as I know, if you combine them into one form, when you go through it, it will have the person's name on that questionnaire form, since you have the informed consent on the same thing. So that's why it's necessary to have 2 separate links.
Okay.
And the form of consent, if you already have it in a Word document, is pretty easy because it's just copying and pasting and typing up one short little blurb. So that takes like 2 seconds.
All right, awesome. So what I'm gonna play around with this.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can make a form. If I can do it, then anybody can do it. So I'll do it based on your video, and if I come up with anything, I'll let you know.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks a lot, Morgan. Appreciate your help.
Yeah, no problem, Harwit.